winds. A mind that cannot govern its own weather is a mind that is effortlessly controlled.
You are walking through your life with every gate left open. A careless word from a stranger ruins your morning before it starts. An unexpected change in your schedule sends anxiety flooding through your chest. Someone disrespects you, and before you have made a single decision, your mind has already been taken. You are not living. You are reacting. And here is the part no one is going to tell you directly. The world is not doing this to you by accident. The media profits from your outrage. The algorithms are engineered for your anxiety. The people around you who feed on your volatility, they have learned, without even knowing they learned it, exactly which lever to pull. A mind that cannot govern its own weather is a mind that is effortlessly controlled. And you have been that mind for longer than is comfortable to admit. The Stoic philosophers looked at this pattern thousands of years ago and called it the most dangerous vulnerability a human being can carry. Then they built the complete architecture for dismantling it. Not suppressing your feelings, not becoming cold or unreachable, governing your interior so completely that the world loses its ability to run you from the outside. The American Psychological Association found that the average adult experiences between 4 and 6 significant emotional hijacks per day. 4 to 6 times every single day. A message, a comment, a circumstance completely overrides rational thinking and dictates the next action. That is not occasional reactivity. That is a life being operated from the outside in. Dr. Antonio Damasio's research at the University of Southern California confirmed what the data keeps returning to. People with high emotional reactivity consistently make worse decisions, build lower quality relationships, and report dramatically reduced life satisfaction. Not because their circumstances are harder than everyone else's, because their interior is ungoverned. The circumstances are not the problem. The open gates are, and the cost compounds. A 2021 study published in Psychological Science found that individuals who score high on reactive emotional patterns spend an average of 3 hours per day in a neurologically compromised state. Elevated cortisol, reduced prefrontal activity, impaired judgment. Triggered not by genuine threats, but by perceived slights, minor inconveniences, and information consumed on a screen. 3 hours every day. Gone. Not to crisis. To reactivity. History's most catastrophic moments confirm the pattern at scale. Xerxes ordered the flogging of the sea when a storm destroyed his bridge. An emperor, with the most powerful army on earth, brought to emotional collapse by weather. The pattern is always the same. The ungoverned interior becomes the weapon the world uses against you. The Stoics not only identified this, they spent their lives inside the most extreme versions of it and built the exact counter-architecture from the inside out. Marcus Aurelius was provoked every single day of his 19-year reign. Not metaphorically. He received news of plague, of war, of betrayal by his most trusted general, of the deaths of his children, delivered in the same hours he was required to lead, to decide, to command the largest empire on earth. Every day, material designed to break a man's emotional governance completely. And in the private journal he wrote for no one but himself. In a military tent, at the edge of the empire, surrounded by dying men. There is not a single entry that reads like a man who has handed his interior to the world. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He was not writing inspiration. He was writing an operational command to himself, to the part of him that wanted to react, that wanted to discharge the feeling the moment it arrived. He also wrote this, and this is the line that cuts through every excuse for why the interior remains ungoverned. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. He was not teaching avoidance. He was teaching transmutation. Every provocation, every attempt by the world to breach his interior, became the material he used to make the interior stronger. Not despite the difficulty. Because of it, Marcus did not inherit emotional sovereignty. He built it, daily, in the hardest conditions available, by making the same decision every morning before the day began, that his interior was his, that nothing outside of it had authority over it without his explicit permission. That is not philosophy. That is the most practical decision any human being can make. So why does the pattern persist? Why do intelligent, aware, capable people, people who can feel the cost of reactivity in real time, continue handing the keys to their interior to whatever shows up first? Three mechanisms, each one running beneath the level where most people look. The first, the reaction has been mistaken for the feeling. There is a confusion at the foundation of most people's emotional lives. The belief that the reaction is how you honor the feeling. That if something hurt you, the hurt is proven by the immediate discharge. The raised voice, the message sent in anger, the day lost to the spiral. This is not honoring the feeling. This is being run by it. Marcus felt grief. He documented it. He felt anger at his general's betrayal, at the wars he did not choose, at the losses he could not prevent. What he refused to do was let the feeling become the commander. He felt it fully. Then he chose his response. That gap between the feeling and the action is not the suppression of emotion. It is the most complete respect for it, because it means the most important moments of your life are not governed by your first, automatic, unreflective output. They are governed by who you have decided to be. The second, the open gates have become invisible. Most people are not aware of how many times per day they have handed control of their interior to something outside of it. Because the handover has become automatic. The notification arrives, the mood shifts, without a moment of awareness between the two. The comment lands, the internal weather changes, before any decision has been made. This is not weakness. This is what happens when a pattern runs long enough and consistently enough to become the default. The gates are not open because you chose to open them. They are open because you never chose to close them. And the world, the media, the algorithms, the people in your environment who have learned how to move you, have been walking through them every single day. I want you to reconstruct something. The last time you were hijacked. Not the dramatic one, the ordinary one. Yesterday, or this morning. The message that landed and changed the temperature of your entire day. Walk through it slowly. The moment it arrived. Was there a fraction of a second where you felt the reaction coming before it happened? Where something in you registered the stimulus, and you felt the response already forming, before you had made any decision? That fraction of a second is the most important real estate in your entire life. Because in that fraction of a second, you have a choice. Not after the reaction. Not when the damage is already done. Right there. In that gap. Marcus called it the discipline of assent, the practiced, daily decision to choose what your mind agrees to act on. Most people spend that gap in automatic discharge. The fortress is built by spending it differently. One decision at a time. One gap at a time. Until the gap is no longer the exception. Until it is simply how you operate. The third, and the one that requires the most honesty to face. Most people are waiting to feel like a governed person before they start governing. Waiting for the calm that they believe will make the practice easy. Waiting for the circumstances to improve so the interior is less tested. Waiting for the day when reactivity costs them enough that the decision becomes unavoidable. That day never arrives. Because the circumstances will always provide material for reactivity. The provocations will always exist. The world will always present something designed to breach the gates. Marcus did not build his interior fortress during the peaceful years. There were no peaceful years. He built it during the plague, during the wars, during the betrayal, during the grief. Not because the conditions were right, because he understood that waiting for the right conditions was itself a form of surrendering the interior. The decision is not made when it is easy. It is made now, in the exact conditions you are in, with the exact level of discomfort that is present in your life today. That is the only construction site available, and it is enough. Here is the architecture, not in theory, built one brick at a time. Starting tonight. Practice one. Install the sacred pause. Tonight, before you sleep, make one decision. Before you respond to anything tomorrow, any message, any comment, any provocation that lands, you take one slow breath first. Not dramatic, not visible to anyone else. One breath. That breath is not delay. It is the gap made physical. It is the moment between stimulus and response given a form your nervous system can learn. Do this for 7 days without exception. The gap that feels forced on day 1 feels instinctive by day 7. Practice 2. Separate the event from the story. Tonight, write down one thing that is currently stealing your peace. Now write 2 columns. Left column, the facts. Only facts. No adjectives. No interpretation. What actually happened, stated plainly. Right column, the story. Everything you have added to the facts. The meaning, the implication, the verdict on your worth or your future. What you will find, every time, without exception, is that the left column is manageable. The right column is what is breaking you. The Stoic practice is to live in the left column, to meet reality as it is, not as the story your ego has constructed around it. Practice 3. Audit your environment ruthlessly. Tomorrow, notice how you feel after every significant interaction. Not a vague check. Specific, drained or energized, calmer or more agitated, more yourself or less. One interaction at a time, for one full day. At the end of the day, you will have a precise map of where your emotional energy is being consumed. And you will know, clearly, specifically, without ambiguity, which gates need to be closed. Practice 4. Weaponize the dark emotion. The next time you feel a surge of anger, frustration, or grief, do not suppress it. Do not discharge it. Redirect it. Before you send the message, use the energy for something physical. Before you spiral, use the weight for something creative. Marcus used the grief of burying his children to write more honestly about impermanence than any philosopher before or since. He did not let the dark emotion burn down his house. He made it build something. Identify one dark emotion that is currently present in your life. And identify, tonight, one specific act of construction it could fuel instead of destroy. Practice 5. 10 minutes of voluntary stillness. Tonight, before the phone, before the screen, before any input from the outside world. 10 minutes. Sit with whatever arises. The fears, the resentments, the buried things. Do not resolve them. Do not analyze them. Simply sit with them and prove to yourself that your mind is a safe place to inhabit. Marcus did this every morning. He called it the practice of returning to himself. You cannot govern what you are running from. The stillness is where the governance begins. You came into this video with your gates open, the world walking through them whenever it chose. Your morning owned by a notification. Your peace owned by a comment. Your interior belonging to whoever showed up with something sharp enough to breach it. That is not your fault. It is your default. And defaults can be changed. Marcus Aurelius led the most powerful empire in the history of the ancient world from inside the most tested interior any leader has ever had to maintain. He did not do it by feeling less. He did not do it by becoming unreachable. He did it by making the same decision every morning before the world arrived. That the interior was his. That no message, no betrayal, no plague, no loss, no provocation, however real, however legitimate, had authority over his response without his permission. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He meant it as a daily instruction to himself. Take it as one to yourself. The gates you leave open tonight are the ones the world walks through tomorrow. Close them. One practice, one breath, one decision. Not when the circumstances improve. Not when you feel ready. Now. Because the man who governs his interior does not become a ghost to the chaos around him. He becomes something more dangerous than that. He becomes the only person in the room that chaos cannot touch. Subscribe to the Inner Citadel. This is where the architecture gets built, one video at a time, for the people who are done living on autopilot. If this landed, share it with one person who needs to close their gates. I'll see you in the next one.